Please stand for the pledge. Fire department. Oh.
Mr. President, would you like me to take care of that problem right now?
Yes.
Would you like me to take care of that?
Is there one outside? Yeah.
So we won't call it.
Heavenly Father, we actually bless our meeting, bless each decision that we have to make, and we'll give you the praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I apologize, Mr. President, we couldn't get back in here Sunday to put it back. Where is it? Right here. Trying to hit anybody on the way up, but you have my apologies, sir. It was using a Memorial Day ceremony, and we couldn't get back in here to put it back. It won't happen again with them.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll, please.
President Delbert.
Present.
Trustee Harris.
Here.
Trustee Chapman.
Here.
Trustee Hill. Trustee Quinn Miles.
Here.
Trustee Pridemore.
Here.
Trustee V.
Here.
Attorney Isordi.
Here.
Clerk Mack. And Treasurer Mazat.
Approval of agenda.
I was going to request one item on there. I don't have the material to present on it, but I was hoping somebody else might have an answer to present on it. Would be the Main Street maintenance update.
We'll give it up.
What's that?
We just give it up.
Can we do so publicly?
within restrictions.
Can we put it on the agenda then? As such?
I don't think it's necessary to be on the agenda. You can call it from the table. And we're prepared to give you an update. But if you want it on the agenda, we can put it on the agenda.
I prefer it on the agenda. Under
Unfinished business.
unfinished, I guess.
So it's an update on what day?
Main Street maintenance update.
Any other items on the agenda? Hearing none, motion in order.
Move that we approve the agenda with the added under unfinished business.
Support.
The properly moved and supported that the agenda be approved with the one addition. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment on the agenda. Approval of minutes, August 9th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from August 9th meeting.
Second.
Been moved and supported that the minutes of August 9th be approved. Questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Been moved and supported
Yeah.
that we approve the consent agenda. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Trustee B.
Yes.
Trustee Chandler.
Yes.
Trustee Hill.
Yes.
Trustee Craig Miles.
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore.
Yes.
President Gilbert.
Yes. The John Ryan Smith contract extension. This was added, it was brought up a month or so ago about Mr. Ryan Smith's contract. And there's some confusion as to whether that terminated. And it hadn't, because we hadn't informed them of that fact. So I guess I'm asking, what is the council's wishes, intent? I think Mr. Ryan Smith is pretty close to coming to a conclusion. I know he has all the bank recs up to date through the end of August. I think he's still been supplying the auditors with some information. I think everyone received that email.
Can I ask if the treasurer has spoken with him recently?
Other than my response to his email, I have not. That was just yesterday. I responded, county treasurer.
What's your wishes?
What are we doing as far as the accountant position? I think that is a limiting factor in the decision.
It's on the agenda.
Right now, we have Yo doing the audit. you'd like to retain Mr. Ryan Smith, you want to, I think, offer a position to someone, and then we have the treasurer, so that's 4 people involved in accounting services in the village?
No,
Okay, who would it be?
there's only 2 that's actually involved in accounting services for the village. That should be the treasurer and Mr. Ryan Smith. I don't think the audit, that's a,
Separation?
yeah, because we're going back all the way to 2013.
Okay.
So, and of course, the new positions have not been filled.
Okay, so if we fill the new position, is Mr. Ryan Smith the new position, the treasurer?
And I think Mr. Ryan Smith is coming to an end. And it's always been my suggestion that we not fill that accounting position until we were caught up and there will be a short transition period from Mr. Ryan Smith to that new person.
And his last bill, I think, was for $15,000 for 1 month.
I think that's,
So he's cost us ballpark figure $100,000 for the past year.
I would guesstimate that would be probably quite accurate.
It's kind of expensive. Do we have an idea of an end date for this?
According to Mr. Ryan Smith, like I said, he's caught up to date on the bank recs, and his conversation with Yo and Yo, their partner, gives an indication that the audits are supposed to be complete. I think he's talking about later this month.
What else is he doing?
Then he'll be done.
Here we go.
Yeah. The hard part has been the audit and the bank recs. There's been missing files that we found that weren't in the file room. I come across a box in my office that had some personal information in it. Some files that should have been in the file room.
But he's not really dealing with filing. He's not dealing with filing.
No, but when he needs something, the girls should be able to go into the file room and retrieve it.
So would you recommend a 1 month, month by month extension?
At the most.
Is there a cap on the billable amount?
Well, he's operating under 2 contracts.
It doesn't matter. We need a cap
Okay,
on a billable amount.
suggest one.
Somebody throw a figure. What would be reasonable?
Just say per right now, per month, what is he actually using? I mean,
This current month, for the last month, I think his bill was about $13,000 combined between the $10,000 max on one contract and the other, I'm not sure what the actual dollar amount was.
because I know you had the accountant, position on here, and I know that there's gonna have to be some transaction between him and her.
Right.
Is 15,000,
Rich for our blood, yeah.
well, good for our blood, but whatever has to happen, I mean, in order for him to, I mean, we don't want the new accountant coming in and being blind. We'd be in worse shape than we are now. So whatever it is, I mean, just putting the cap out there doesn't mean he can work up to 15,000 or whatever the amount that we put out there. I mean, it's, but I don't want to cripple him and say, okay, he stopped right here and he can't, and then leave her in the loop.
I would think 15 would be more than reasonable, but I would also be highly surprised if he got anywhere near that.
Did 13.8 already.
He's working on 3 years of work here. Okay? 3 years of work.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that, but we're talking a chunk of change to one of
We're talking a chunk of change, and we're talking a chunk of change that in the last couple of years, it wasn't spent, you know? So, I mean, there's been some issues, you know? And it's important that we get a totally clear picture of the village finances. And, you know, so we're gonna pay somebody to do this,
I mean, you've been paying for a year.
a year.
Let's keep in mind, you know, we had three companies present to us what it was gonna cost us, and they were way up there too.
They weren't ever in charge.
They were over that.
Well, one of them was.
Okay.
And Clayton Moran was.
I'm not talking about Platinum Ram.
Not that I'm saying we should go back to
But Platinum Ram
Platinum
wasn't one of them though,
Yeah.
that came in
And not that I'm
present.
saying we should go back to Clayton Moran.
No,
The other proposals were quite healthy.
I mean, I think we've got two options. We can do a 15,000 cap if we want, based on the fact that there would be a transition period. The other thing that we could look at, though, is we could just go back to the $10,000 cap because the bank recs are now caught up. So
Yes.
that's one less thing off the plate, so we know we won't be spending time on that.
that's fine.
So if we went to the 10 and just kept it at that, which was the original cap in the first place, I don't see why that would be an issue.
They're doing a whole extension.
Yeah, and then if there's some issue, then you come to me, you come to us.
And let's keep in mind that the bank recs still have to be done.
Correct.
Yeah, for sure.
But not caught up.
Right.
Right. Now we can kind of stay on top.
Right, now we got the same time.
So with that said, I make a motion that we cap Mr. Ryan Smith at $10,000, month-to-month, contract. So we extend this contract.
Second.
Been properly moved and supported that Mr. Ryan Smith's contract be extended on a month-to-month basis with a cap of $10,000. Any questions on the motion?
Is this going to make, are we confident that this is going to make us good going forward?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Some of the stuff that's, yeah. I wish I could talk about it. Any other question on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Craig Miles.
Yes.
Trustee Chandler.
Yep.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Trustee Hill.
Yes.
Trustee Craigmore.
Yes.
Trustee B.
Yes.
President Dillard.
Yes. Animal control regulations. Madam Clerk.
I put that in your packet, it was on the second. Macomb County goes by this set of regulations for animal control. And they send it out to all the communities, wanting them to accept that as their policy also when they're dealing with problem homeowners that have dogs and things like that. And so they've had several reports or calls from our community about animals. And they told me that since we did not adopt or accept the county's recommendations, that their hands are tied and they will not come out and enforce any of that.
We did. I thought we did.
Right, and I sent it to him, but he said he doesn't have it. So that's why I'm bringing it, we did that.
Do we have a record?
And I looked through the minutes and I saw something concerning animal control that we sent to the attorney to look over. But I don't know if it was that regulations that Macomb County.
I think the one in the seven is the one that they proposed, that they forced the meeting to adopt. I thought that's what they did. I thought they did that.
I thought we did too, but I could not find it anywhere in the minutes that we adopted it.
It was like 4 or 5 months ago, wasn't it?
It was a while.
Or
back.
longer?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying.
And I sent it to the county. I remember it because I had to get President Dillard's signature, and they said they never got a record, they don't have a record of it, so.
So should we adopt it again?
Yeah, so, because like I said, there's complaints in our community, and they're not coming out because they're going by this guideline, Macomb County regulations.
But now, quick question, we have, and I read the regulation, we have some ordinance on our books that aren't included in this. Does that negate those ordinances? They're not gonna enforce them?
They're gonna enforce what's in this. They're not over, because like I said, we've already had incident, and they said that there's not, I said, but don't you have our ordinances? He said, yes.
But they're not gonna enforce them.
They'll only enforce what's on the county's stuff.
So,
No, I don't think that's, I think they will enforce our ordinance too, but I think,
they have them.
I think what it was is they had our ordinance and there was something
There was an issue about the number of dogs.
Yeah, it was, and that's what we were actually clearing up, was it, our ordinance says 2 dogs, and it said something about 3 or 4, and that's what I remember, that was a hang up on one of them,
I thought we cleared
I
that
think we
up.
resolved it, right, and we what I'm thinking is that it never got back to maybe,
For formal vote.
right,
Change it on our ordinance, but.
not on theirs, so, I haven't read this, but I don't know how many dogs they're allowed. Ours need to be in compliance with theirs.
So our ordinance about livestock is a non-issue for them? They're not gonna enforce it?
No, their ordinance may be the same. I mean, they still have to enforce our ordinance,
They did that. originally.
our animal control ordinance,
That's what I was trying.
along with theirs, right?
So are we in position to adopt this ordinance, or are we?
Tom, as you said, have you reviewed
No,
this?
I haven't gone through it. I thought it was just an update of where we were with the old one that was adapted.
Well, this one said it was revised in May 2015.
Yeah, it was after that.
Yeah, it was after that we got.
Yeah, it would have been after that.
Right.
I think we should just keep looking at our records, I'm sure we got it. I remember I voted no,
Well,
but
in the
everybody else
meantime,
voted
they're
yes.
not gonna enforce anything, so.
That's true.
So, yeah,
That's
that's
just.
just.
Well, they're not going to enforce this, but we can enforce our own.
Do you want me to proceed with checking with the clerk and making sure that it was adapted? If it wasn't, we'll put something together for the next board meeting to adapt.
That's what I think should happen.
So we're saying be brought back to next meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Accountant position. You received the email over the weekend, or Monday, Sunday, Monday? The individual that I'm bringing before you was one of 3 that was narrowed down from the original applicants by the Ways and Means Committee. And I was able to interview 2 out of the 3. And this individual seems to be the most qualified. And the fact that she's currently going through an audit. You have her resume, education, and some proposed contract language. If there's any questions, I'll try to answer them. I would ask, because she is currently employed, that her name at this time not be said.
Couple of questions. I looked it over kind of briefly, so I might have missed it, but I don't remember seeing the specific hours worked per week. And
40 hours.
40 hours a week. And physical location in the office.
Oh, yes, there.
All right.
Yes.
So it's my understanding that unless otherwise specified and discussed, I imagine she will be solely working for the village,
Yes,
at least as her primary employment.
yes. But she does after hours, actual control.
Was there a hourly salary discussed on that?
I'm sorry.
Did we talked about, we defined an hourly salary for the position?
The Ways and Means Committee?
Yeah.
I never saw it if you did.
Well, it was a scale, 15 to 20 per hour?
Yeah, I think what it was, what you
But that was for
you had
part-time.
sent up, right, that was part-time that you had sent over to us and we reviewed that. this is a full-time, this probably equals out to about
She currently makes
20,
and she's not gonna be recurrent for the same rate.
So is that the probationary period, right? It's going to be the probationary
It-
period,
it's-
6 months, and then the pay increase after that?
There's a 60-day review
A 60-day?
after she started by an outside firm, just to perform, just to make sure that she's doing
Well, she's-
everything that we need to be done. And then, as you can see, there's a 3% increase is proposed, January 1 of 17
Okay.
and 18. And she doesn't need health benefits, but there's a stipend and lieu of benefits. And her vacation, sick, and personal time will be the same as the union employees. But this position will be non-union. And that's been confirmed and agreed upon by the union.
I just have one, I mean, I just don't, I think 90 days should be a review period of time. 60 days, I think is kind of short.
3 months instead of 2.
Right.
3 months is the shortest usually. What's that saying?
That's,
If the employee was moved into that position effective October 1st, and then we'll serve the 90 days with the pay increase in January.
Yeah.
That was satisfactory.
And all time up, just about.
and then be 90 days.
Can I ask, so when you interviewed her, is she aware of what she's getting herself
She's
into?
well aware.
That's something, that's important, yeah.
Well aware.
She might leave the next day.
And you read, when you read some of the skills, you know, most of it, you know, encompasses what we need done here.
And what's the salary again that's being proposed? Sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
45,
A year.
yes.
So probably about $22, $23.
It's a slight boost over what she's making right now. And which would be about half of what we're currently spending.
And so if we do choose to terminate at that 90-day period, or 60/90, whatever, you know, does she have any, it's at will, basically?
There's no recourse.
Has a contract already been written up?
Nope, nope. The attorney will have to take care of that and make sure that all the proper I's are dotted and T's are crossed. This list of things that I presented was just things that her and I had talked about, and it's just a basic format.
I just have one comment. There will be no need to amend the budget for salaries because the money's stable. Correct?
There may be amendments,
Not too much though.
but
because
no,
we lost some.
not to cover this,
Right.
no.
That's all. Not for the salaries. for the
No.
employees. Okay. That's good.
So here, we're going to be bringing forth probably next month some amendments to some other items.
Okay.
Originally, we had discussed making this a part-time position. Why is it a full-time position now?
Can't find a part-timer.
So that was a condition of employment that would be,
Yeah. Yeah, she's full-time right now, and she's not looking for part-time. And the overall function of the office, while it's a lot smoother,
could you
There's-
take on some other duties?
yes,
There's-
and
okay.
the bottom line on this sheet that I sent out kind of says, you know, while the primary responsibility will be financial, as she will be cross-trained in other functions of the office to help cover sick days, vacation time. Yeah, so she won't just be a sole, just because, just in that position, no, we probably, it would only need,
Part-time.
yeah.
Like that, the cross-training.
Yeah, so the cross-training has to take place, and so that, she can be well-rounded. And she understands that, that she will be asked to do other things.
Is she capable of doing payroll?
Yes. Any other questions? What's your pleasure?
I move that we hire an accountant at the start pay of $45 an hour. I'm sorry, 45. 45,000. Yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Came out of retirement.
At 45,000 start salary, 3% January 1st of 2017 and 3% January 2018 with a 90-day review and the 25 in lieu of insurance and vacation, sick time as union contract and the position as a non-union at-will employee.
And that should be cross-trained.
And a full-time position, and that they will be cross-trained. She will be cross-trained in the office.
Second.
Been properly moved and supported that we hire a full-time accountant with the conditions as stated in the motion. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Trustee Pridmore.
Yes.
Trustee Chandler.
Yes.
Trustee Vick.
Yes.
Trustee Hill.
Yes.
Trustee Craig Miles.
Yes.
President Dilbert.
Yes.
Can we get a copy of the contract forward just for review?
Yes. Draw up a little, make sure it's- 27 Gratiot light update. I attended the township board meeting last Tuesday, and the Lennox Township Board approved the one street light on 27 Mile Road that's on township property. The other three are on village property. And we've been in contact with Edison to draw up separate contracts for the one light in the township, a contract with the township, they'll have to pay, and they'll also be responsible for the annual bill. And the three lights within the village that are new, the upgrades on Gratiot at the 27 Gratiot intersection are freebies. My only question would be that there's a third light that is being installed north on Gratiot near Riverbrook entrance. And I don't know how that light came about, because our primary concern was the 27-mile stretch. Marcus, do you know how that Riverbrook light came about? And do we want to leave that in the proposal or eliminate that one light and just go after the two that are going down 27 Mile Road?
Is there no light right now?
I don't think there's a light there.
Yeah, the thing is, Gratiot is coming out of Lennox, as you're coming out of Lennox into New Haven.
Yeah.
And whoever requested that, I mean, New Haven didn't request it. If the state is requesting it, then let the state, I think, let the state pay for it. It's a state highway.
Is there a traffic issue over there?
But you're saying we won't even pay for the upgrade, or in that instance, the installation? Or we would?
That's new, so we'll pay for that.
And what they're doing, they're upgrading with LED lights.
Yeah.
Those LED lights are gonna be bright enough to light up whatever's been lit up.
Yeah, they're upgrading the two lights that are closer to the intersection. And with new installation going down 27, but I see that there was an add-on at the Riverbrook entrance, or near the Riverbrook entrance. They're north entrance. And I don't know who made that request. Is that something that they were trying to throw in there?
Because the way it looked as if they were upgrading Gratiot anyway.
Anyways, that's my.
And so if I can throw it off on you,
Yeah, because that's at the border right here, so.
yeah.
So that makes sense.
So should we just go after the two lights that are going on 27 Mile Road? I mean, that,
Or get some, why would, or get some answers, some questions and answers from
I'd like to know
why.
the cost.
uh,
I'd like to know the cost.
oh,
Yeah.
It's not that
the
much.
cost is about $1,100 a light. Yeah.
It's not the cost of the light, you still pay that bill every year. Annually.
But LEDs are,
I'm wondering
Really
what's,
cheap.
they must have done some
Or
type
if I
of
don't pay
study
for something, somebody else pays for it.
determining where a light should be placed.
I don't know where that came at,
Just
and
what it is.
I've been trying to contact the rep from Madison the last 2 days. And haven't been able to get a hold.
Can you do this? Can you get a cost, well, we know what the cost of the light, but can you get a cost? They should know by now with the lights that they put in thus far, what an annual.
$180.
$180 for the year.
The year.
Yes.
180 a year.
So find out if they're gonna put that light in, that one light. If they're not, I say we cover it. I mean, it's just, it's just public safety for us.
Yeah.
image.
Yeah, there's a cost estimate on the proposal per light.
So I agree with Trustee Harris. I mean, if it was already gonna be put in by the state.
Yeah, but
let
if
them
it's
put
not
it-
in the village, why should we pay for it?
Right, if they're gonna put lighting up along.
But if that's, is it in the township? Well, I guess clarify if it's in the
Well, I
township.
don't know if that's just again, I don't know exactly what's
If it's in the
happening.
village,
The village actually, city limit starts right in that area.
Right, if it's in the township, then no, but if it's in the village.
It's in the
then I would
village.
say yes.
It's in the village.
Especially if it's at an entrance of one of our communities.
It's in the village.
So we'll find out if the state is gonna put it in there.
Yeah.
If they are.
We'll have that discussion.
If not, then I say.
So are we gonna be delaying it right now?
Well,
They're gonna put it in tomorrow.
we could do something contingent. It's up to you.
What's their construction time? They're not,
Marcus, what did Reggie, Marcus,
Yes, sir.
what did Reggie give you as far as a turnaround time?
He didn't give an actual turnaround time until it was approved, but I'm actually emailing him as we speak.
So he wouldn't
No.
commit to a time?
No.
Why don't we approve two, and then when you get in
Subject
contact
to-
with them, if they don't get photos.
Yeah.
All right, then I'm slightly confused on the number. Is it 2, 3, or 4?
2 or 3? 2 or 3?
For us.
2 or 3 for us. There's
One.
1 in Lennox.
One at least.
4 total.
five for New Haven,
No.
one for Leonard.
You confused.
Two of them they're upgrading two, and there's 3 new ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, what
Yeah, upgrades.
we're not talking about grades. We're confusing.
Right. But out of the 5,
Yeah, we got a copy of the
one
map.
that is in question whether it's coming from the
So
state.
it's gonna be 4,400 or 55?
It's gonna be 3,300 or 44. The upgrades are freebies.
Oh, okay.
I thought those numbers changed.
We're
No.
doing this first. We're not
I don't want to confuse them. When we had the first sheet, and we said that those numbers
Yeah, they did.
changed.
Yes.
It's 4,400 for the 4 new lights. So with Lennox taking on one at 1117, something like that. So it would be 3,300 for the village. If we
Put them in.
include that third one. So it's either gonna be 22 and some change or 33 and some change. If we can get a motion contingent upon securing the proper,
I make a motion that we approve the spending as requested for the 2 lights on 27 Mile, and for the additional light near Riverbrook only if it's determined to be within the village limits, and
the state wasn't already gonna.
that the state was not
We gotta find out.
already planning to put it in. Is that fair?
It is in the village, you can confirm, but I'd like to see a dollar amount, honestly.
And that it's less than 1,500 bucks or something?
No, I mean for the whole, all of them itself. Because at the last meeting, we came back and the same dollar amount weren't the same.
All right, we can wait.
Marcus,
Yes, sir.
I'll go to my office. And on my desk there's the contract. We'll come back to it.
Yeah, or we can go with it, I mean, no more than a certain amount.
Let's talk about item E. This is informational, and it was put on here for state of Michigan, but basically what's happening out there, there's a group of public officials who have put together they're preparing a lawsuit against the state of Michigan. They have determined that the state is in violation of the Headley Amendment and a number of funding criteria. And they want to force the state to start funding local communities 100%, not 80%, 85%. The leader of this group is Steve DeShane from East Point. Locally, I think the Baltimore and Richmond have joined. They're requesting $1,500, just a flat $1,500 rate to be a part of this class action lawsuit. They're not seeking for the state to reimburse them for past monies, but they're wanting to force the state to fully fund local communities going forward. It has been estimated by the municipal league that the village of New Haven over the last 10 years has been shorted approximately $4 million in reduced revenue sharing.
Last 10 years?
I'm sorry,
How long ago?
last 10 years.
What was the amendment you said was violation of county or
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but,
how do you spell it?
They're saying that they're not living up to the provisions of the Headley Amendment and some other revenue sharing provisions, that they're using local monies to balance their own budget. So I'm hoping that you want to join this group.
I make a motion that we,
Before you do that, will we have consultation at these meetings? Will our council be a part of the
No,
discussion?
I would say not, probably not.
Probably not.
No, there's a law firm that's heading this, a couple of law professors. There's I want to say a board of directors from these city managers and whatnot that are, you know, but you know, whether we join or not, I think we would benefit from it because it's a class action lawsuit. But I think, you know, but they need funding to push this effort forward.
yeah, it's a law professor from New State, and Steve DeShane
Yes.
got together. I think Macomb Township belongs to the,
Yeah, and I know Richmond, Baltimore.
Warren. Yeah, this is Warren's in the chief.
okay, so I make a motion that the Village of New Haven allocate $1,500 to be put forth for the, do they have a name for the lawsuit?
Yeah, they have an official name and I forgot to provide it.
For the lawsuit against the state of Michigan for the violation of the Headley Amendment, as requested by, who requested that we donate the $1,500?
I'm requesting.
Oh, okay, as requested, well, just toward the lawsuit.
Are there any ongoing obligations? Once you're in?
No, it's a one-shot deal.
Can we ask that we get updates, or like the president,
Yes,
just the president?
yes, I will. Was there support for that?
Yeah, more support.
Then probably moved and supported that we join this group, and I will get the official name so it can be part of the public record. In their efforts against the state of Michigan. At a cost of $1,500, one-time cost of $1,500. Any questions on the motion?
Yeah, Attorney Asori, is this something that the village should be entering into, or?
I'm not that, I'm familiar with what they're doing. I'm not that familiar with who's involved thus far. I know none of the other communities that we are.
In Baltimore's doing
Yeah.
I'm not, there was an article in Macomb Daily that somebody was going in it, but I just have a hard time with spending village money without seeing any paperwork or anything from them. And, somebody was here doing a presentation on what they were asking for, so, I mean, it makes it a lot easier for me to make that, but that's just me.
Any other questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee B,
Yes.
trustee Harris,
No.
trustee Pridemore,
Yes.
trustee Chapman,
No.
trustee Craig Miles,
No.
trustee Hill,
Yes.
President Delbert.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Going back to item B, the numbers. Come out to be $1,110.30 per light. So if the village takes on the three, it would be $3,330.90. And of course, if we only take on the two, it would be $2,220. And the cost is estimated at $179.90 annually.
So you said $1,110.90 per light.
Yes.
So it was 30 cents per light. Not that it matters.
30, okay.
Because times 3 would, so it was 90 cents. So it divided.
11, 10, 30, okay, thank you.
So we'll remake a motion now?
Did we find out a timetable?
Well, we'll have to find out a timetable once the contract is executed. Hopefully it can be done before the snow falls. And that's probably something they could probably do even after the snow falls.
It's just too dark on the 22nd stretch, so it needs to get done. That's something different.
So, make a motion again?
A motion is in order. Motion in order.
I make a motion that the village enter into contract with DTE, right? In the amount of $3,330.90 if, or so long as the third light is determined to be, what was it?
In the village of it.
in the village limits, and the state of Michigan has not already, was not already pursuing the installation of such light. Else, if the village of New Haven agreed to the contract in the amount of $220.60 for the 2 lights on 27 Mile Road.
Second.
Been properly moved and supported that we do what the motion just stated. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Chandler.
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore.
Yes.
Trustee Hill.
Yes.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Trustee Fred Meyer.
Yes.
Trustee Reed.
Yes.
President Dilbert.
Yes. Attorney items.
You've got the, as indicated to you previously, Trustee Harrison and I met with the DPW superintendent. And I apologize, I thought that when we met here that the document went out, but apparently it didn't to everyone. So you've got a copy of the agreement and the modifications. There's a summary of the modifications.
I just had one major comment, the other one was kind of not circle like everything else. Just the exhibit 1, it doesn't have a header, just add the header there. Superintendent Department Works and subhead education school. And then under exhibit 3, the last the last bullet, last line, we start at listed. State listed in exhibit 1 at the time of the original.
We can do that.
And just add a header like we got with the other exhibits.
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion that we table this contract so we can review it.
Second.
Both edits. Both are edits.
Okay.
It's been properly moved and supported that the contract be tabled for proper review. Any question on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
On the enterprise zone update, we're still working, trying to get the information to the state. Trustee Hill, you were here, I haven't got anything with it.
No.
Okay.
Payment of bills.
I move that we pay the bills in the amount of $110,929.31.
Second.
Properly moved and supported that we pay the bills in the amount of $110,929.31. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Chandler.
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore.
Yes.
Trustee Hill.
Yes.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Trustee Fred Meyer. Trustee Reed.
Yes.
President Dilbert.
Yes. You see the comment on the clerk's agenda item review. Treasury report.
The last CD will be closed out at PMC and moved to Michigan School and Credit Union on Friday. Just want to give you all a heads up on that, so I'll give you the receipts and everything next month with my treasurer's report. Total assets for the month, we're at $3,501,471.81. One more time, $3,501,471.81.
Get a question.
Yep.
I don't know if it's between you or clerk. Can I ask that number, the total asset, be printed on the agenda? I mean, I don't know why, it's always just said verbally, but it's kind of,
This is right here, it's on the other sheet.
I know, but I mean, I don't know why we can't just do it.
Treasurer's report. You get to the treasurer's report.
Oh, I understand, but I'm just saying that
Then
you
you would
must
need
have
to buy-
it for just quick
That's,
reference.
I'll send it to the clerk with the total. In my next email, I'll send it to you with the total put on the agenda.
And this is the last CD.
I have
This is the
one
last
quick
CD, yeah.
question. The PNC, the last CD, is that CD being moved?
Friday,
Okay. And to where?
Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union CD.
Now, the question I had, when you move the CDs, are you moving the CDs into another CD?
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
moving it into another one-year CD that
And then that'll show on the
rolls over
report.
every year. Yep.
Make a motion that we accept the treasurer's report as presented.
Second.
We move to order that we accept the treasurer's report as presented. Any other questions on the report? On the motion, I'm sorry. All those in favor? Opposed?
Oh, is that supposed to be a roll call? No, it's spending.
Unfinished business. Update on unsafe buildings. I think I'll tackle this one. We had sent out 6 certified letters, approximately a month ago, to 6 buildings, 6 properties that we determined to be unsafe, a public hazard. 4 of the occupants received their certified mail at some point in time. From that point, they had 20 days to file an appeal, or 30 days to pull a building permit and submit plans for rehab. To date, out of those 4, none have filed an appeal. None has submitted plans for rehab. 1 has begun the process of getting the property ready for demolition. They're going to take it down and not burden the village with having to take it down. The other 2 did not or have not taken receipt of the certified mail. So that will be part of our argument going forward to the courts, that they just flat out wouldn't sign for the certified mail, which certainly doesn't excuse them from their obligation. And it doesn't excuse us from our obligation to continue to pursue this. The 3 that did, I don't see anyone do anything with these properties. A second one has voiced that they're gonna tear theirs down and possibly build new on that site because they realize that the foundation of their property is not stable. So we're moving forward. It's a slow process. Eventually, we will be in court on these properties. And just having to go through the whole chain. And it's not going to be a speedy process, but I would hope that some, if not all of these, we could probably possibly try to get down before the snow falls.
I have a question. I guess it wouldn't happen if we were going to try to do it before snowfall, but if we were to, if it were to be delayed until next year, Is that possibly something that CDBG money could be used toward, or not?
I think the village has in the past.
The demo?
Yeah.
Actually, that's what we allocated the money for.
Yeah.
Because I'm wondering, like, for the two people who haven't responded, I mean, we can sue and stuff, but however, I mean, it's like squeezing water from a rock.
I guess my only question would be to Mr. Sorty. At some point, we would have to actually acquire ownership of the property in order to use.
Well, to do the CD, you gotta own the property to use the CDBG funds.
Yes.
Funds, but under the statute, and there are dangerous buildings that can be torn down. And then you know, the money that's expended can be leaned against the current property. So essentially what winds up happening is that gets added to the taxes. You go through a tax sale foreclosure and then you
That's one of the, that was one of the stipulations with the state agency, Michigan Housing, something. We would have to get ownership of the property before we could apply for some state grants to use for demolition. So we'll stay on top of this. We're not gonna let this one slide.
Are they tax delinquent, any of them?
No, they didn't come up on this year's tax rolls. So they're staying at least just enough to stay off the road.
And before we would certainly recommend that the village paying funds to tear it down, should look at $10,000. We'd have some sort of sense of the property, what the current value of the property is, what liens may currently exist against the property. So we'd have to give it some different consideration. For instance, if you have a $40,000 piece of property with a $30,000 lien, a $40,000 lien, that's completely upside down. We don't want to lien something that we don't have any value with. Or at least if you do, if the council understands that money's never going to come back.
Right. But also the positive effect it could have.
Correct. Right. But I wouldn't recommend you spend it until you guys all know that the money's going to go.
Any other questions? Main Street update. I'll let Mr. Assorti.
From today?
Yes, that would be a good start.
How do I put this? The engineers, myself, President Dilbert, Trustee Harris, met with the contractors. We addressed some of the concerns the village has with regard to the current condition and the timetable under the current contract. We made it very clear that it's only acceptable if we proceed in a little bit more expeditious fashion. That message, I believe, was received. You can correct me if I'm wrong, President Dilbert, but I think it was received. They've provided us with a brief update today on where they are, and we understand that we will receive a further update before the close of business tomorrow regarding potentially using some additional manpower to make sure that project is completed. And depending on the results of that information, decide where to go from there. But I think that the one thing that I was very clearly conveyed is that the village's dissatisfaction with the manner in which the completion process is being conducted.
We're going to ask something, I imagine you'll say you can't state it, but I'm just out of curiosity. What was who would be the responsible party? And you probably want to squash that real quick. But who do we perceive to be the responsible party for this? And or more practically, what do we understand was the issue that has caused the delay?
Well, I think it's pretty clear. The issue is that there's a lot of work right now. And, that happens with a bunch of contractors. There's a lot of jobs. The contractors that are out there are doing the best they can to catch up for the past several years that we've had, and that's where we are. I will tell you from a who's responsible type of perspective, there is, Fazil Khan's office did an outstanding job with the contract. There's a performance bond in place so that we know that if they can't get it done for some reason, that it will get done.
Was there any unforeseen curveball that popped up or something?
There were a few issues that popped up, but none that, and Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but none that we, that wouldn't happen in this kind of construction.
Trustee, we're definitely concerned about the addition of Main Street, particularly this stretch up here with open swimming pools. I'm really surprised, but quite thankful that no one has driven off one of those edges yet.
They did.
Oh, they did? Oh.
Somebody went to a hole.
But it's a situation that, like Mr. Sordy said, that we've conveyed to them that is totally unacceptable.
The message was very clearly received.
Do we have any recourse if they fail to live up to our expectation?
Yes.
So there was a performance bond?
Correct.
So we'll stay on top of it. Trust me, we've been on top of it. It's been all too consuming. Any other questions on this issue? New business. Joey. Yep. I don't know how to pronounce it, but.
Casual. Good evening, everybody.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
My name is Joey Kedgwell. I'm here. I know we originally submitted a request for tonight's meeting as a action requested item. We had hoped to identify a couple of pieces of property for our proposed uses, but we haven't yet nailed it down. So does it matter if we transition it to a discussion only? Is that okay with?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter? Okay. So my name is Joey Kedgwell. I'm an attorney. I work out of Oak Park. I have several clients that I represent who are in the medical marijuana industry. They've scoured different villages, townships, municipalities of all sorts, and tried to identify some areas that they think would qualify for either a cultivation facility or a dispensary facility. As you know, or I think most of you would know, or all of you know, last week the Senate and the House finalized the bills that will be passed at the state level, approving dispensaries throughout the state, approving medibles, approving larger medical marijuana facilities, and advancing the Medical Marijuana Act of 2008. It's yet to be signed in by the governor. That was actually supposed to happen today. Unfortunately, there was the incident with one of the state representatives who passed away in a motorcycle accident, so they postponed all activity today. So my clients are interested in exploring the opportunity, possibly establishing some facilities in the village of New Haven. They haven't been able to identify a particular property because they've been conscientious of keeping it away from schools, keeping it away from churches, keeping it away from parks, like many of the other municipalities have done in enacting different ordinances. There are several cities and townships around the Macomb, Wayne, and Oakland County areas that have passed ordinances. Inkster, Ferndale, Troy is allowing cultivation only, not dispensary. The idea was to come here and have a conversation with you guys about A, how you guys felt about just medical marijuana being introduced into the village entirely, and B, what you think would be acceptable as far as cultivation, as far as dispensary, as far as geographic location. In our experience, and I've been doing quite a bit of this for the past couple of years, cultivation facilities have generally been reserved for industrial areas, low traffic areas. They're always equipped with high security, fencing, cameras, surveillance, and dispensaries are generally found in a more retail area, retail setting. They are also very highly secured. They have privileged access to certain areas where all the medical marijuana is kept. And you know, the clients that I represent aren't really interested in doing this black market I think everybody here can safely say that there are plenty of black market operators out there, guys who are operating under the radar, not pulling permits, exceeding plant counts, completely violating and taking advantage of the Medical Marijuana Act of 2008. Those aren't the guys that I represent. I'm here before you today because we want to have a feeling out process to see if anybody in here, or if you all would entertain the possibility of a medical marijuana practice, and if you did, what it would take for you to be satisfied and approve that plan. I'd open up to any questions you all have for me, anything you'd like to ask, anything I could do to possibly, alleviate any concerns, answer any questions. Perhaps there's some uncertainty about the entire industry that I can answer. Really just like to have some feedback, just to see how the village would be with respect to medical marijuana business.
Your position is that the governor's going to sign this?
I do believe he is, yes.
Well, sometimes my question is to let it go to the House. There were questions about employee backgrounds. There was no caveat to stop felons from working at these facilities.
So it was signed, from the Medical Marijuana Act of 2008, you cannot have a medical marijuana card or be a caregiver for a felon. That has not changed, and it was signed in Thursday. The only thing that it's waiting on, Attorney Sordi, I don't know if you're familiar with it, is just the governor's signature at this point.
So it passed.
So it
It
passed the
did.
House.
Thursday it did, yeah. There were plenty of articles about it.
I wonder why law enforcement was so concerned that felons could work in these dispensaries and grow operations.
I would have a legitimate concern about that too. I wouldn't want anybody, particularly who has any kind of drug history or any kind of theft or history involved in these operations either.
Well, they seem to believe that language wasn't included in the bill.
The 2008 Act prevents a felon from having a medical marijuana card. And I
Or
don't.
having a card, but working at the facility.
Oh, as far as every facility and every local ordinance that I've been involved in, they also have accounted for the fact that
But that's
felons-
dependent on local ordinance.
Yes, and even the new legislation that's been passed still gives every municipality almost complete discretion in whether they will allow any kind of medical marijuana facility in their geographic area, and they also allow them to set the guidelines.
And so would you and or the clients that you represent be willing to work with the village to write up such, or such
Ordinance?
ordinance that alleviates the concern of?
I absolutely was willing to. I have indirectly been involved in a few different municipalities. I've worked with lobbyists at the state level also. I would absolutely be willing to be involved in that.
You said you're an attorney out of Oak Park?
Yes.
What criteria did your clients use to narrow their field on New Haven?
Well, it's an untapped market. There are a few little industrial areas, a few little areas that are secluded as far as the cultivation facilities. And as far as Gratiot, it's kind of a main thoroughfare. It's a little north of a lot more of the activity, but at the same time, it's an untapped market. On an area that really hasn't addressed the needs of medical marijuana patients. There isn't anything north of here that I'm aware of, and not anything really too close if you go south either.
And there's no sweet spots like that in Oakland County?
There are, like Ferndale has allowed dispensaries and cultivation facilities. However, the last that I was told, I haven't done anything there recently, but the last that I was told, they actually capped it. I think they allowed 3 of each. Other Oakland County municipalities have not followed suit as far as dispensaries, but they have approved plenty of cultivation facilities. Troy in particular has several cultivation facilities that they've approved.
Okay. And your clients, what history do they have in these facilities?
My clients have been in the cultivation, since the Medical Marijuana Act has been enacted, they've been involved in the medical marijuana industry.
How many grow operations do they currently have?
You're only allowed 1 per client. So in this particular case,
I mean, the whole cultivation facility.
so one caregiver from the 2008 Act is permitted to have 5
5
patients,
people, right.
72 plants. That's all that they can be involved in. They can't have multiple locations. The particular patients that I have would have this as their sole operation.
5 patients,
Yes.
and the cultivator is only allowed to provide with 72 plants.
The cultivator is allowed to have 12 plants earmarked per patient.
Oh, earmark.
Yeah, so you can have one, the 12 also include, there's also 12 for the caregiver, so it's 72 total. What I will say is, the new legislation that was recently passed takes into account the commercial side of it. And there's actually a three-tier system that's been incorporated into that new act that allows for a commercial operation of up to 500, 1,000, and 1,500 plants. Again, any local municipality would have the discretion to say whether they allow any of those licenses, but the new legislation that is anticipated to be passed will allow that many
And
plants.
is that what you're planning for, a larger operation?
Ultimately, yes.
Do they have one now?
No, you're not allowed to have that.
So they're not familiar with ventilation, type of compounds?
If you scale what they're doing right now, that's basically what they'd be working with, and taking into consideration the future laws, it's gonna be a lot more regulated. The future laws also incorporate testing facilities, testing mandates, I should say, where every product is sent out to a lab, test for THC levels, test for a variety of chemicals. I'm not intimately familiar with the scope of testing, but that will also be mandated in the new legislation.
So, if they were to pursue, looking for a location for, such a cultivation center, they would be looking to newly construct, or, I know you said you haven't finalized, a certain building, but I don't know if you looked around, drove around at all. Have you seen any other facilities that you might be able to renovate or maybe newly construct?
I don't do a lot of actual scouting. They tell me sites, and I get involved once they identify a property, and I handle the actual transaction and the paperwork that's involved. So I really don't have an answer on that.
But you did mention that the Medical Marijuana Act, as amended recently, amended by the House, or passed by the House, I should say, not signed in by the governor, will, if signed, allow dispensaries, and then you said some other words I didn't catch.
It's medicals. So a lot of patients are not inclined to inhale. So like cancer patients, for instance, they won't smoke anything, but they can digest the medicals, is what they're called.
And so there was no mention of, if I caught it right, there was no mention of the actual cultivation centers. So are those legal as it stands right now, or what?
So that also is at the local level, permitted in some municipalities, which is what we're looking to do here. And then there's some that don't allow it. They've completely stricken it.
So that was not touched on as of the amendment that just passed this last week?
Well,
I'm sorry, I say passed, I mean.
Yeah, well, what they did was they expanded the scope. So before, when they did the 2008 Act, it was a lot more limited and more intimate, I guess. It was one caregiver, 5 patients, that's it. It's a fine line in the sand. Going forward, it'll be a situation where you can have a license that allows you to produce 500 plants, 1,000 plants, 1,500 plants, without any designated patients for those plants.
Are you saying that that's expected to be signed into law by governor? That's the amendment?
That, it's actually a whole new bill, 4209 and 4210.
To better understand all these facts, would you, and I'm not saying we set a date now, and it's probably going to be up to you if you want to host it, but I mean, would you be open to the hosting a town hall to get feedback from residents?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't mind.
I think you gotta be careful with that. You've got an outside vendor coming in. You have an outside vendor come in and get a town hall presentation.
No, I mean, like, they just hold it themselves. I mean, it's just called the town hall. I don't mean it's
Yeah.
actually sponsored by the village or associated with the village in any way. They just call to attention, put something in the paper or whatever they do.
I mean, ultimately, I'm here to receive any kind of feedback you all are willing to offer. I'm taking into consideration any comments you have. If you guys sit here tonight and tell me go fly a kite, we're not interested, well, it is what it is. I had my opportunity in front of you guys. It won't be the first time, it won't be the last time, I'll be quite honest with you. It's my job to be up here and present to you guys, and like I said, I have guys that want to be transparent about what they do. They don't want to cross that line in the sand and do anything illegal or that's not permitted by any local municipality. So that's why I'm here.
I appreciate that.
Okay, yeah. So you said that you would be willing to work with the village and whatnot. Now, as the amendment is expected to be coming up and signed into law, you say it allows for the municipality to set more strict guidelines and whatnot than what the state allows and whatnot. Of those things, would there be allowed things for obtaining a license, obtaining, like you would have to come to us, which would also have stipulations like the village gets to inspect the facility?
Yeah, yeah, so every city that I've dealt with so far, and I've received approvals for clients of mine in the city of Southfield, city of Inkster, city of Warren, every city that I've dealt with absolutely reserves the right to enter any facility at just about any time they want, inspect, plant count, inspect, make sure there's not, there's security, make sure that there's nobody who has access to any of the medical marijuana that's not allowed to have access, make sure everybody who's there has their caregiver card and or patient card. The state laws are written in such a way that the municipality really has complete discretion in doing what they want to do. They have the right to say, we're not going to allow it entirely. There's no requirement that any city adopt any ordinance.
And could these municipalities charge a fee of sorts for such a license?
Absolutely. So, for instance, again, the city of Inkster, they charge a $10,000 fee for every cultivation facility, and that's an annual fee, $10,000. And then for their dispensaries, which they limited to 3, they charge $5,000 annually. City of Ferndale charges a $2,000 application fee, and I believe a $2,000 annual fee. Southfield did not have an annual fee listed in their ordinance, but I believe that will change. City of Warren has an annual fee. So yeah, it's definitely an opportunity for the municipality to raise some revenue also.
Any other questions?
If you're willing, I for one would be interested if you'd be able to send copies of whatever ordinances or whatever, however else they addressed it from Southfield, Inkster, and Warren, and or any. That would be great for me. I'd like to review that.
Yeah, what's your email?
I'll meet you after, if you want to stick around.
I actually gotta get home to the wife and get.
Here,
She's gonna kill me. She is, and I'm working late.
Here.
Oh. Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, this, just to clarify, we have no ordinances in place, we have no regulations in place. These laws are all subject to local municipalities' regulations and ordinances. This hasn't been discussed with our residents, so this was all informational only, correct?
That's correct at this point, yes. Does that mean I have to tell my guys to stop growing?
Yeah, you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
So you're not going to be here after the meeting, right?
No.
So if there's any questions,
Mr. Harris.
The planning commission. The planning commission last week approved a rezoning for property on Gratiot, which is owned by Pasquale Ancavetti, and the rezone is from light industrial district to general business district. The recommendation from the planning commission is to approve that rezone, and the address is
This is the front of the old Paymar building, or the Paymar entrance off Gratiot?
correct.
Okay.
58011 Gratiot, parcel number 063-3-276-038.
So do we want to read it aloud?
It was just a recommendation to approve it.
That's the one that has the resolution.
You're right.
But every resolution you accept, you got to read aloud, right?
If you want to.
I make a motion that we approve the recommendation of the planning commission to rezone parcel 06-33-276-038 6-038 from light industrial to general business property.
Second.
So here, why is there a resolution in place?
There's a resolution to amend to amend the ordinance.
So that's a separate issue?
No,
Or is it part of the rezoning?
it's part of the rezon. And the adoption of the amendment, and this has to be posted in the paper for 7 days. Seven.
I'm a little confused. So are we adopting the resolution? Which will
Adopting the
take care of-
resolution to rezone the property.
I should have said.
Yeah.
Let me amend my motion. I make a motion that we approve resolution 16-004, which will rezone parcel 06-33-276-038 from light industrial to general business property.
Second.
Been properly moved and supported that we adopt resolution number 16-0004 as it pertains to the rezoning of Gratiot. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Reed,
Yes.
trustee Harris.
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore.
Yes.
Trustee Chandler.
Yes.
Trustee Craig Miles.
Yes.
Trustee Hill.
Yes.
President Duggar.
Yes. Mr. Harris?
These are recommendations from the Parks and Recreation. The first one, the Tiger trip. We have 2 trips scheduled for September the 14th and September 28th, which are Wednesdays. I guess what we're asking for is the cost on the bus. The tickets were free, thanks to some work with the Village Parks and Recreation and Greater New Hope Church, that we were able to obtain 50 tickets for each game. And the cost for the bus is $1,300 for both trips.
So it's $650 per trip.
Right.
All right.
1,500 each or 1,300 combined?
Combined.
And I think both trips have been filled, totally filled by now.
Was it 20? I think the 28th had a couple. They made it up to the day. I didn't check the day.
Yeah, 28th is real close to being
Okay.
filled. I know tomorrow is filled.
Yeah, that was good.
Make a motion that we approve the amount of $1,300 for 2 smart trips to Detroit Tiger games, September 14th and September 28th.
Second.
And properly moved and supported that we approve the smart monies for the Tiger trips on the 14th and 28th of September. At a total cost of $1,300. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Pridemore.
Yes.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Trustee Chandler.
Yes.
Trustee Craig Miles.
Yes.
Trustee Reed.
Yes.
Trustee Hill.
Yes.
President Duggar.
Yes. Mr. Harris?
The second trip is for Key Wade casino trip in the amount of approval for a bus in the amount of $2,610.
$2,690, she said.
Is it 90? Well, I'm looking at them here. Okay, $2,690.
What she has.
I'm sorry.
Is it what it's gonna be?
On that, which one?
Yeah.
And I believe that's an overnight trip.
It's an overnight, yeah, it's an overnight trip, and they stop at, there's a shopping trip in there involved in it.
is Keywood and Casino?
It's St. Marie.
Oh, it's way up there.
I think it's 6 hours.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, the people that are responsible for their lodging.
Yeah, they're responsible, I'm sorry, you didn't pass it on. They're responsible for, it's $99 per person,
They're responsible for.
they're responsible for everything, the only thing the village is responsible for is the bus.
And the cost that participants pay, actually, it helps to cover the lodging for the bus driver. So we can't use smart.
And it's,
Is this already been posted?
pardon me?
Has this already been posted?
No, we're waiting for the Tiger trip, we was waiting on the Tiger trip, and then posted after that.
Let me add this on a separate subject or similar subject that we had determined that bus trips need to be pretty full. That we will no longer send buses on the road that are half filled. So if these trips don't fill up, these are 50 passenger buses. And if we don't get in that 40, 45 area, then trips will be canceled within a reasonable amount of time.
So should the motion be made with that?
No. That was just for information for any trip going forward. We had determined that we needed to have a certain amount of participation.
So this $99 I see in here, that's what they're gonna be responsible for the lodging?
Correct.
And of course, as you see, they get a lot of freebies.
Yeah, they get like half of that back.
Yeah.
I make a motion that the village allocate $2,690 toward the smart trip to Key Garden Casino on October 22nd and 23rd.
Second.
Been probably moved and supported that we approve this smart trip in the amount of $2,690
Yes.
for the Keewatin casino trip. Questions on the motion? I have one question, and I think, I'm not sure if you and I spoke on this, or if you were the one that was sharing with me. For an overnight trip, are we requiring some sort of waiver?
Yeah, they actually, I think it's the casino that they sent us a packet, and that packet is the waiver. Everybody fill out, and then the phone number, address, and then the health issues and stuff like that.
Okay. Because that's, helps my concern with the overnight trip. If something happened to a participant,
Right.
and, who's their contact and who's their,
Why would the casino send that? Why would they be the ones that don't?
They give it to the person that's in charge of the trip. I mean, they send
Oh,
them.
because they know it's a group.
Yeah, it's a group trip.
Because they give them the group rate for the.
Right.
okay. Any other questions? Roll, please.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Trustee Bridemore.
Yes.
Trustee Chandler.
Yes.
Trustee Reed.
Yes.
Trustee Hill.
Yes.
Trustee Craig Miles.
Yes.
President Dilbert.
Yes. Call from the floor.
George, not here.
Call from the floor.
Joe McCullough, sir. This is just an observation that I've noticed. We're putting in a new sign over here, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we have two very nice signs that are, one is on the corner down here by McDonald's, the other one is down by the water fountain. Unfortunately, the signs are not noticeable. They're on go look at it. Brown brick, brown letters, fades right in. The one at the corner here, nobody ever notices. I'm just making a point that I'm hoping that this new one will have some contrast, so it'll actually say welcome to Newland. The other ones should be looked at and see if there's what the cost would be to change them. The letters, the brick is beautiful, the letters are beautiful, but they blend in together. It's just a brown spot. And if we're gonna welcome people to New Haven, I think they should be able to see these things. We know that we want them to come. So it's just, it's not a complaint, it's food for thought. Maybe somebody could look into that.
I think this time here will be real visible.
Okay, good. The other two are beautiful, but like you said, because of the time, there's no separation, it just kind of blends in together. And it's just something that's always wondered. Didn't have anybody else want to say anything, because I figured that out.
Call from the floor.
Let me shut again.
I have a question. I don't know if it belongs here or not, but I'd like to bring it to your attention. I live in Amherst, and they have a entrance and an exit coming out of there with big rocks that line up there. Number one, it does not have a street sign. It's not part of the structure when they put it in. It was a service entrance only. And they seen a pedestrian almost get hit by a car. I brought it to the attention of the police department. They said they bring it up for the road commissioner and have it investigated. Nothing's been done. But I don't know who's liable for the sidewalk area, whether it be New Haven. But I'm just trying to, protect us.
That same interest was a topic of discussion this week.
I actually spoke with Faucicon about this, and it's fully on the homeowners association, 100%. And you're right, it was supposed to be a service drive. It should not be being.
Yeah, but the sidewalk belongs to, I believe, to the
Not within the homeowners association land.
Is that right? Well, that's good for you. But you know what, I do have a concern there because that scared me to death when I seen that light was just flying down the sidewalk and that car was. And he almost broadside.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be.
And,
Their drive isn't supposed
yeah,
to be.
they drive right over a
It
side.
should be blocked off.
Well, it should be removed and have the.
That's dangerous.
I fully agree with you. Actually, that's why I contacted him. I was thinking, well, I wonder if we could do something about it. How much would it cost? Just food for thought, kind of beating around the bush, just to get an initial thought on it. And it was a shoot down from the get-go because we'd have to first obtain the property and then to follow the county guidelines of how the roads are supposed to, we'd have to realign the road.
It actually got
Well, you
brought
know
up
what,
at,
they will do it when somebody gets killed. They will do it.
it actually got brought up at the last, not this year's, because I only get notification once in a while, but at the last homeowners association meeting I went to, and they said that they couldn't even put a sign up there for a stop sign because it's not technically a road.
Well, I'll have a conversation with Andy, if I can ever get in touch with him. He's unapproachable.
No.
But I guarantee you, everybody will be approachable if somebody gets hurt.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of walkers, walking dogs up there in the evening. And I'll tell you, it's a blind spot. Because they have that ecology up there. And you're just flying in, flying out, or something. In most cases, you can't get two vehicles in there at the same time.
And then everybody just stops in the middle of 27 mile, and I've seen them.
So, I'm not here to, stir pot or anything. I'm just here trying to protect us as we have an obligation.
Yeah, your homeowners association will be on the hook financially, so
Anything that anybody can do to try to.
it's your homeowners' responsibility, the association. They will be responsible. If somebody gets hit by a car, you as a resident and your homeowner association can be sued.
Yes, I
So it's
understand.
private property, so I would address this with your homeowners association about liability. Because they're leaving it open where there's supposed to be a house. As long as they leave it open, you guys are gonna all be on the hook for it.
Yeah, they should have had two, for the amount of people, just 500 homes per se. They should have had two entrances.
Well, that
and an
field
exit out of there because in
I think
case
they were
there was an
supposed to.
The
emergency.
field behind us, because I'm right behind the neighbor, the field behind us was supposed to have the second entrance. And it's all set up in
Yeah.
Never
But
got built.
your HOA is exposing you guys to liability, I would talk about
Right,
it.
I'm gonna bring it to their attention. I worked on that one today, so, he's the vice president.
We have priorities.
Yeah, for something. And I'm gonna bring it up to him. And, but I first wanted to bring it here first, I didn't know, who was really in charge.
everybody, just a picture.
But, you know, like I said, I'm really concerned about our safety. I know we can't afford to do all. Thank you.
Thank you. Call from the floor. Call from the table.
Quick question. So I noticed that we got this passed out to us at the beginning of the meeting from the treasurer. I just only had a few.
Yeah, it's little reading.
Did we, it said, it references attached is a list of,
Yes.
list of properties. Is there a?
I have that list, and I'm personally going around and checking each one of those pieces of property,
We're going to respond to this.
checking the proper appropriate box, and then I'll email it back to you.
Could I ask you?
Sure. I'll give you a copy of this. And of course, you see the one from the Drain Commissioner's office. So we don't know what the actual reduction in bond is gonna be, but there should be some sort of savings.
I have one question for the attorney. The Park and Recreation requested the attorney looks into the 501c3, and I'm talking about that. Have we got any?
We are in the process of preparing a package for you to develop so that you can apply for those. We're still looking at whether or not we have to establish a separate foundation type of situation to support it.
One of the FYI, in your packet was the sidewalk ordinance.
Oh, yes.
To address the issue that has come to this table for the last couple of months. Well, you read, I think it was Article 19, paragraph 19.
I can make some comments on that.
Please do.
Okay, so we have we have a village ordinance, but there is state statute as provided at the last meeting. I have them printed out here. I can read them word for word again. Village ordinance doesn't trump state statute. If the state statute says we're responsible, we can't pass an ordinance saying, you're responsible. It doesn't work that way. So our ordinance can say whatever it wants to say, but if the state statute says, as it
We just
does.
told this man standing in front of us that their homeowners association is responsible for the sidewalk.
Yeah, because they actually own the actual property, and
And
it's
so did people
written up
last
that
year.
way. It's written up that way, as state statute is written up that we are responsible. It's clear as day. I have it printed
I
out
think it's
right
clear
here. I was
as
hoping you were
well.
just gonna let it lie, but I have all the documentation right here. And I don't know why we're skirting this, our responsibility on this. The section, MCL section.
We're not gonna read it.
691-142A clearly states, a municipal corporation in which a sidewalk is installed adjacent to a municipal, county, or state highway shall maintain the sidewalk in reasonable repair. There's another prior applicable section that's fairly similar, and then it's also supported by the MML, the Handbook for General Law Village Officials, updated 2015. The provisions of an
Mr.
ordinance
Banter,
must be
send it
consistent
out.
with state law. The
Send it
ordinance
out
may
to
not
everybody.
conflict with or preempted by state law.
Send it out there, everybody.
I have, I will, I have, I did last month. I actually sent it out, and I did that slip as well.
Okay, call from the table.
I said, I owe you guys a litigation update. We were in court yesterday, so there was nothing major, but I give you the full, the draft was done today, and I'll try to get out to you tomorrow. Thank you. What's there?
Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
In order.
Support.
Okay.
Aye.
No.
Why do you-